Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Road Sodas. We haven't done one of these in a while, but we came together for a special occasion because we are here with Rob Fullmer, the director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. Is that the correct title now? I know you're...
That is my, yeah, it's a lot of syllables.
And we also have another special guest who's not really a guest. Nate's back.
Yes, thanks, guys. It's nice to be back. It's been a little while.
And Chris is here. Nobody cares about him, so we'll just skip his intro.
Well, I'll just say, Nate, I'm really sad that you missed our Oktoberfest episode. That's going to be coming out very shortly. You would have loved it. It's just full of malty beers.
I bet.
So speaking of beer, well, let's actually talk about what we are drinking since we're terrible at that. Chris, what are you drinking?
A Dragoon.
I have a New Belgium 1554 because it's that season.
Yeah, talking to the director of the Craft Brewers Guild, and you're not drinking Arizona beer. Good call there.
This is New Belgium. It's from south Arizona.
Rob, what are you drinking? I see.
I'm drinking the Dragoon Goonfest, which is their Merton Fest beer, which I got their Oktoberfest. So
Rob's still in Oktoberfest mood.
Oh yeah.
Nate, what are you drinking?
I've got the Homestead AZ Wilderness, and my blur is working too well, but
yeah, you got that all blurred out. It's got the censored.
The can have it's nude art on the can. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Look at those peaks.
Committed a crime.
Trying to be on topic a little bit. I'm drinking Astro Cookie from Dark Sky, which is a lovely 11.5% for a Monday evening.
Nice little warm up for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a while since we've talked to Rob, so let's catch up a little bit. Rob, what's going on? Nothing new, right? Everything's just running along smoothly, huh, in the last couple of years?
Yeah.
As usual.
We just talked about talking about the last time we talked, which was before the last Strong Beer Festival. We had a little hiccup there, and then we had a not necessarily the Strong Beer Fest, or what we called it, a Saving Strong Beer Fest. We did a mini festival last February with rotating teams and sessions. But we're just trying to figure out what events look like and are they back. And I just had a really, really busy weekend. I was in Cottonwood for Nacho Beer Fest at that brewery, and they had a handful of breweries, and this is the first time they ever had their parking lot open, and they were looking for a casual little hang. They had a DJ, they had a band, and they were all happy. I mean, they sold like 100 tickets and had 5 breweries, and I was only there for like an hour, and then I busted ass and got to Yuma for the prison, the territorial prison beer festival, which is put on by the Rotary Club there, which does some great work for the city of Yuma. So that was a long day.
Yeah, what is that? Like an 8-hour drive?
I was gonna say that has to be a good hike.
It's 2 hours from Phoenix to Cottonwood, 2 hours back, and then another 2.5 hours driving. So you're looking at 6 hours. Well, I flew.
Oh.
I took a jet from Yuma.
Yeah.
Did you have to put batteries in it for it to take off?
Hey, so this is a little Arizona factoid. You can't fly commercially to Yuma or to Lake Havasu, but you can fly 5 daily jet flights to Yuma, because there's an air base there, and because they need mail and documents and stuff. So, and it's relatively reasonable if you plan ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, it was great. We also just came off, speaking of October, so we did a very small out of market Oktoberfest in Wickenburg, and we had about 600 people, and it was like a throwback. It was like how, like craft beer was definitely new to a lot of folks there, and we had some people come up from the valley. It was kind of like small town, big trees, shade, and just not the hustle and bustle. And we did it because a lot of breweries do their own Oktoberfest, so we didn't want to compete with that coming out of a pandemic. In a normal year, we'll talk about 50 Oktoberfests in the month of October, and then the actual September, early October period. So But things are coming back a little bit, and we're excited. And I have some news, so we can get right into that if we're doing this shorter.
Yeah.
thing.
So was that like a little bit of a test run doing these shorter events or checking them out to kind of gauge what the feel is?
Yeah, I think, we did things to excess across the board, and I think we're just taking a look at that. And I think, you're seeing it, but maybe not so much on the brewery operations side, or maybe even some of the service side. There's a big contraction on help, and there's a lot of burnout factor. We've obviously had some social media nationwide about employment issues, and some of the things on diversity and harassment. And I think we're just taking a look and seeing what do festivals look like. Can we take the opportunity to take a few steps to put them in the right direction, so it's not a stereotype. I think we do pretty well, better than some other organizations, but we're dealing with alcohol. It's serious business, so we're trying to look at things that will make the breweries happier, that they'll get a better engagement, that will slow people down a little bit, and just get some better enjoyment out of it. So yeah, for sure, we are doing a lot of that.
And to clue everybody in, and why we usually talk to Rob about this time, it's the return of Strong Beer Festival.
Yes, we've had the dates for many, many, many weeks, and we were anguishing about a few things, and so should I just come out and tell you what the secret is? I mean, because it's going to be announced tomorrow. I don't think you're guys going to release this, but
Chris is going to pull an all-nighter and release this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if you did. It's just so that we can start from a starting point. So you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, call about 20,000 people and see if they'll.
Yeah.
See if they're excited.
Yeah.
No, hit us. Yeah.
One of the things that we looked at is, we go to the Steel Union School Park, and we build that thing up from scratch every year. And, when we started doing things back there like 10, 12 years ago, a lot of people didn't live downtown. I mean, almost nobody. And, we kind of romanced that park about being central, but, it's really our sales, less so on the west side. And I think there's just a different solution for west side. Everyone talks about the grass. I mean, it's not really grass. It's dead Bermuda, and it's hay by the time we get to like November through like January. It's like beautiful, and I don't know what happens. Like, I think they just kill it. Pride Festival was on this weekend. They had 50,000 people is what they're saying. So if there was any grass, it's suffering right now, and so we never had
gone.
It's all dust. So with that in mind, and understanding that we want to take advantage of every opportunity and take an opportunity to reinvent things that are, look, I represent Arizona and the breweries of Arizona and our well-being, and we've made the decision to move Arizona Strong Beer Festival, which is on February 19th. We are moving it to Bell Bank Park in Mesa, and nobody knows that park at all. So let me tell you about it.
Yeah.
It is cool. It will be complete by end of December. We'll be able to walk around on it and some point, but they're launching their entire program in January, which we're going to be a part of that as well. But it is the largest sporting complex in North America.
So it's a brand new park.
It is brand new. It's
awesome.
If you live out there, you're probably like, oh man, it's down to one lane and there's a bunch of cones everywhere and still a lot of dirt. Yes, that's true. That's true. But it's going to have 35 soccer fields, 57 indoor volleyball courts, 8 baseball fields. Eventually they're going to put a skating rink in there. So they got indoor and outdoor. They have a 25-acre festival area. It's not available to us on this date because you got to remember we're smack in the middle of Waste Management and the Super Bowl and spring training, and now they're all just jammed together because NFL added a week. And we in baseball, it's all conglomerated now. And we wanted because the Super Bowl is next year, we wanted to get somebody who would guarantee that we would be able to be somewhere on the Saturday before Super Bowl. We wanted to finally take advantage of that traffic. And Bellbank Park is on Ellsworth and Williamsfield Road. It's on the other side of Williams Gateway Airport. There's a tremendous opportunity to work with Visit Phoenix. When I told them that we were moving, they were like, how much money can we help you out with this? And then what can we do that we're already not doing? They're going to be able to advertise to a lot of small markets that fly Spirit. They're going to be, people coming up for the Super Bowl, from out of state, and just, there's 20 hotels within 5 minutes of that place.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
Blown up.
And I told Chris, I'm like, I can't remember who was it that lived out there. I said, well, I got to see Nate's face when we tell him we're going to put something where he used to live.
And then he moved.
I broke the news to him.
I know.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, seriously, would have been a nice little bicycle ride or something.
I know.
Yeah.
Downtown Mesa's blowing up. Chris moved away from there, and now
Yep.
everything's moving up to where Nate used to live. So if I move,
Right.
then we just got to wait for everything to come to my area.
I used to live within walking distance of where they put Santa in, and I that was like, that was 2006 or 7, right? And that was when that was like, oh my God, there's, imagine, we just increased the number of breweries by like 30% because we put one brewery in downtown Chandler, right? Because there's nothing happening, right? So like, yeah, we moved, and we moved the way the hell out. And
so are you having like Field of Dreams, like kind of nostalgia with this project, or what's your stress level about a place that technically doesn't exist yet?
I mean, a little bit, but we were sitting on this information for like a couple months, and we were trying to work out the deal. And when you can't do anything and you're just collecting information, and we're like, we would be complete map by this point. And but I think coaching everybody through the pandemic and seeing the breweries make some great moves. I mean, like, there are people who are rebounding out of this thing, and they're all in a better spot. I think our guild is in a better spot. We figured out how to make revenue, 18 months, and it's not where I wanted to be, and it's not where I want to continue to be. But if we're being honest, we wanted to be less reliant on festival income, in particular one. So what we want is we want to create an event, and what this does is it allows us to work with a much smaller visitor bureau, Mesa, who's really, really focused, and it shows, man. I remember like 12 years ago, before I started this job, they were talking about, they brought in some people from Fort Collins. They're going to bring some breweries to Mesa. I'm like, yeah, right. And they've done a good job. It's taken a while, but they're doing great. And there's some few more things coming in the pike for Mesa and that part of the valley in particular. So this is a facility that's going to have league play, and they're every week they're going to have 20-30,000 people. People are going to learn about us, and it's going to be new customers to a degree. I think it's going to be a hot ticket. I think people are going to want to see what's new. And to that point, January 8th, which is the first Saturday after New Year's, right? We're going to do a small intro fest at Bellbank Park. We're calling it Back to Beer Fest. And it'll be much smaller. It'll be, hey, here's where we are. Here's where we're going to be. We're not going to be in the same spot in the park, but we're going to be able to, show that this can work. So we're excited about that too. We're doubling down on it. I mean, like I said, we learned some pandemic lessons, and as long as we have cups, people will drink. People will drink in a field with us together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, Rob, I guess you talked about it a little bit there with the, they're gonna have so many people coming down to that field, so they're gonna have the logistics of parking and shuttles, hopefully, right, and places for Lyft and Uber. Going down to the downtown, Phoenix down there, you have the light rail, right? I know a lot of people rely on that to get down to the beer festival without having to drink and drive. So I guess
we do have that challenge. There's no doubt about it. We're working with Visit Mesa and Bellbank Park. They want to blow this thing out too. So have a one-to-one, strategy for this, but yeah, it is something we're talking about. And not to I mean, we may have to come crawling back to Phoenix at some point. But I mean, they're not going to hold a grudge. I mean, it's a municipality. Here we're working with a team of people, any day we want. And it's the parks are the parks. The parks staff is there to preserve the park. They're not necessarily out, to get our festival attendance up. It's not part of their mission. And so, we're working with people who they want to work with a professional organization. They're launching with a strong organization that can really show what alcohol on premise as a festival can do. They're not just putting out a blanket call for anyone to take advantage of their space. So it is a lot of pressure. But I mean, I think we can work with some of the hotels. Everybody's running into these labor issues, supply chain issues. I'm hearing right now, as it stands, that limousines and buses, and we all know what Lyft and Uber that's scaled back. But we're hoping that some of that's going to come back, and it'll be a multimodal strategy. And maybe maybe the answer is all of it, right? So it's a concern, and we're working on it. There's no telling what the traffic situation is going to look like. Obviously, this is a $250 million budgeted facility. They're not going to build that and then just create a bunch of choke points. I understand that there's some freeway expansion stuff that's still going on, and some of that will be done. Not all of it will, but if we want to take advantage of this, we're going to have to work with them right out of the gate and just create a marriage and hope it works, and work on it.
I'm sure they'll be able to figure that out. I mean, it sounds like a pretty great opportunity to have in that part of the valley. And it is nice that it is moving from so far there to another part of the valley where more people may be able to go to it, that couldn't get out to Indian Steel Park. So, I mean, I'm sure there's great opportunities there as well.
Yeah, it was just like, I'm used to dealing with municipalities for other things. And it's in the light rail, we initially asked if they would lower the price or they had extra cars, and they were like, what they did? They sent us a packet if we wanted to spend money and wrap their trains. I'm like, that was not the answer. But yeah, we'll wrap your trains, but like, let's talk about, can they show their ticket and
right?
We're competing with so much in Phoenix. It's like we were so far down the pecking order on it. That's all I could do. It's just like, well, if you want to wrap our train with Beer Week stuff, which would have been cool, but I don't know that it would have sold any more beer, and it certainly wouldn't have gotten anyone home. So,
So do you think that being close to the airports and the hotels and stuff, are we going to get like more breweries coming out for this fest because of it, or do you think that's going to be helpful for them to get here, right?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I talked to a couple breweries, and they were, they did what I did during the pandemic. They were looking at maps. They were looking at opportunities. Like, when we get out of this, we're going to do this. Personally, my first post or semi-post pandemic thing, I'm a big fan of the Replacements. I found out Tommy Stinson of the Replacements is playing people's backyard, so I went and saw Tommy Stinson in someone's backyard. I mean, that's the kind of, and so they're like, I got a call from somebody from like North Dakota and Montana. They're like, hey, and it's probably because, Spirit or whichever airline flies directly in there. So, maybe not this year, because we're kind of behind the 8 ball here, and we're new problems to solve. So, I mean, maybe. There's an opportunity for us to do a lot more there, and there's an opportunity because they have a on-site, they have a Series 6 licensed location, so we can do promos there, we can do small things, and that's what I like about it. We wouldn't sell any tickets by doing anything extra in Steel Indian School Park. I mean, we can just show up with a few breweries, do some promos, and sell some tickets and sell some product, which is really what it's all about. Is converting people who are just craft beer adjacent or heard about it, or they just like one brand and they've never tried anything else, or they have no idea that there's so many breweries in Arizona, some like really close to them. Old Ellsworth they're gonna blow up. I mean, they're not too far from there.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, they moved there because they did some survey, and that's like the most beer drinking eligible people in the highest income zip code at the time when they built. So
So do you think that the old Ellsworth is going to become the official, unofficial strawberry place to
oh,
go?
Matt's still going to do his thing. No doubt
He'll fight
about
back
it.
for it.
So
Yeah.
at this point, do you have an idea in comparison of scale? Like, are you thinking like what's the footprint compared to Indian School? You're thinking?
Well, it's Indian School is about 25 acres. This location is about 20. And the next year will be on the 25 space. The difference is, if you remember the north end of the park where Hensley typically was, there was a huge donut of just empty space, right?
Always.
So I think we can be more efficient. Listen, I totally do not like crowded festivals. I don't. And we spend extra money to have the space, just so we can have these little pockets and we can have people walk and talk. I'm going to endeavor to not make it crowded, and we're gonna price it appropriately. So we know what our revenue goals are on it, and it's not about putting people in there. It's creating different pricing and having the right mix of breweries and creating engagements. So I know my board is probably worried about the attendance numbers, but we had noticed a trend going into 2019 where large events were doing less attendance, and we've managed to keep revenue up when we've been tracking lower and lower. And like, we're not talking about lower by thousands, we're talking about lower by a couple hundred here. And Oregon's beer festival, OBF, they clipped off some days, and that used to go like Tuesday through Sunday. They've clipped off days over the years. So it's a fundraiser for us, and we want to make it fun, and it's still going to be the premier event in Arizona. There's no doubt about that. Just because of who it attracts. I've talked to all the distributors; they're actually excited for something new too. So, it might present an opportunity for people to work together. We're going to try to do some craft beer bars, get them to serve a few more brands so we can take care of people who don't want to make the travel and still have their brands represented with a quality organization. So excited about trying something new and breaking up the mix a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure 5 acres won't separate that from happening. And there's some cool places down there. Caldwell Barbecue. I mean, it's going to be a neat spot for it to go off, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're did some drive-bys. We're scoping out some pre-event stuff, but we'll still, it's still a statewide event. It's still a Metro Phoenix event.
It's only about 30 minutes from its previous location, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, where I sit though here in Tempe, it's 30 minutes either way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so and I had a couple of breweries say, well, it's an extra 25 minutes from you. Like, well, we have breweries that come up from Sonoyta to here, Flagstaff. So I don't know if I want to hear that.
Yeah.
Tombstone to Flagstaff.
Yeah.
That was the fun thing about Wickenburg. It's 75 minutes from here, and it's 75 minutes to Tucson.
Right.
So,
yeah. Talk to Ian at Ground Control, who was always driving to Tombstone every other week to pick up beer about logistics.
Yeah. He doesn't want to hear about an extra 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But hasn't that always been a challenge in Arizona? Because we don't really have like a centralized city hub. Like, we don't have like a Seattle or a Chicago or like a downtown area where everybody works or congregates. It's all kind of spread out. You got a huge place in Chandler, you got Gilbert, Mesa's blowing up now. It's funny how Mesa realized you can make money off of beer, and now they want all this beer money to come into town.
Yeah, well, I mean, Arizona and Phoenix in particular was built around automobile. I've been, I just last weekend would have been FOBAB in Chicago, Festival of Barrel Aged Beers. Okay, so they do something that looks like Real Wild and Woody in terms of being indoors, and it's all barrel aged beers. It's amazing, right? But they put 6 breweries, one serving one beer at a 6-foot table, and the aisles are really narrow. And I'm like, I would be lynched if I jammed this many people into Phoenix Convention Center. I don't like to use that word. That's probably a bad word to use, but certainly I'd be ridiculed on Facebook, which is maybe worse than death. But here's the thing about Chicago: people are used to being shoulder to shoulder with people. I mean, they're taking public transportation, the L, or they're just used to when they go downtown. That's what you put up with. Here, it's a double-edged sword. It's mostly in the negative. The automobile has given us great freedom, and it kind of saved everyone's sanity during the pandemic. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere, but you could at least drive out to Flagstaff and look at the scenery or whatever. Like you didn't, but if you look at some of the cities when they're built around walking and biking and stuff, everything is like human scale. We don't have this giant ass parking lot in front of a big box store in some of those areas. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, when I was younger, like, yeah, let's just drive everywhere. It adds up. And like, a lot of people do the 1 hour commute. If we could, this is why when people say, hey, we maxed out on breweries, I'm like, no, we have not, because we haven't maxed out on walking to cool places. And one of the things you start to learn when you don't make beer, but you're in this industry, is you start to look at urban planning stuff and what's going to be successful. So this is kind of, throwing us way out where we're going to be reliant on solving problems that we're not used to. But I'm here for it because I think it's important. And there's going to be a lot of housing built out there, and it's not going to ever have the downtown concentration.
There's already a lot of housing out there just waiting for this.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I guess that's the thing, is it's a growing area, right? I mean, you're basically, this is a kind of a long strategy, right? I mean, you're banking on people moving there, wanting to go to a festival out there, so it's only growing that way. So
there's so many people out there.
Yeah.
So many.
You have that E-Smart community, and like now with the airport, you're basically, Queen Creek used to be so far away, and now it's a freeway overpass away, and everything's so interconnected with the freeways. And I mean, it's kind of funny to say it's an Arizona was a car town, and all that area used to be the old GM proving grounds for all you old Arizona heads.
Oh yeah, when you go there, you're going to notice they're realigning one of the roads there, Williamsfield Road or whatever, or Pecos, or both. But like you can see the alignment is got a curve to it from one of the old proving ground curves. That's
cool.
Yeah, no,
test track run on your way out there.
Yeah, so it's going to be different. If people are wanting the same thing, they're probably going to be disappointed. If they're open to seeing what we can do there, and you know what, you don't have to like it. We're going to leave a little bit of a vacuum in the on the west side, and maybe we'll fill that with something else. People used to tell me like, yeah, I'm so glad you did Real Wild Woody, because like, strong beer used to be my favorite. It got too big, and now I like Real Wild Woody. I'm like, I'm going to ruin that for you too. I'll create something else. I'm not going to
ruin it for you too.
I'm going to make it bigger, because if it's generating revenue for the mission of our organization, yeah, it's going to be bigger. It's not going to be, it's not our intent to make it crowded or screw anyone out of their thing, but it is going to have to get bigger.
Make it so more people can enjoy it. Then it's only a win for the beer industry in Arizona.
Yeah, and if you're spending a lot of money on a building, you want to take advantage of making sure that you're using it to its full effect.
And
it's a great point
to adapt with the pandemic. I mean, people are being a lot more selective with how they spend their money. Like they want different things and they want different experiences. I mean, Chris is going to totally tune out on this sports reference, but look at Ohio State and the Chicago Blackhawks had years of sellout records, and they both ended this year. Like the Blackhawks just ended their sellout streak, and so did Ohio State. So people are being a lot more choosy on what they spend their money with. So they're just going to be like, oh, here, is this different, or is this the same thing I always go to, or is this the same thing I always see?
Yeah, and so this year, this is another thing that we've noticed, talking to my colleagues from out of state, going to some of these events, people are holding on their dollars to the last minute. And that's usually that's a killer for an event coordinator. Like I'd like to know how many people I'm expecting so I can make sure I have enough of everything, but I get it. But that just means we're going to cut that thing off early. And so if you want to play that game, you might be on the other side of you can't get in. And I can't believe how many people just like try to show up, and they like, because we'll have a box office there. This is a nice thing that we'll have a full-time staff there with a box office there, and they'll be able to handle it if we have that opportunity. But I don't. We didn't do walk-up tickets unless you used the online stuff, because we didn't want to have thousands of dollars in a field in the middle of Central Phoenix.
Yeah, like a problem.
Makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
So we're gonna have to manage that really well. I want to make sure that we cover our nut and do a good event, but I don't want to turn anyone away if we have the capacity. But it's going to be really tough if people buy them 48 hours ahead of time. That's a recipe for not having a great time necessarily. So, but it's happening. It already has happened that way for a lot of stuff that we do. It's just getting more and more crazy. People were telling me, like, why do you have such negative projections for some of these things? And I'm like, well, because they were like, oh, the bars are full. Like, well, you make a decision to go to a bar like sometimes 5 minutes before you get in the car. We're going to start selling tickets Black Friday again. Yeah, I mean, would I like to have a sellout before January? I think we did that one year. We sold out before January, and then we tried to figure out how to carve it, how to maybe accommodate some people. And then there's always people, oh, my mother is having gallbladder surgery or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's legit, but we'll give your ticket back. And then we've got people who eat up a bunch of tickets on the industry side, and if they give them back, we sell those out. So
and you mentioned this a couple of times, the logistics of it. You mentioned cups and stuff like that. What are your worries of as far as like the supply chain? And we don't want you to pull a Untapped and have to be serving out of like ketchup cups.
I just talked about that today, and I used that example. It's a surprising amount of things are coming overseas on shipping containers. Yeah, we have to be careful of that. And the last time, we usually don't get to the level where we order directly from China, but we did one year, and that was the Strong Beer bandana year, and I wanted to get them with the injection printing and not just an overlay, so you could actually wipe your face and it wouldn't scratch you because of like, remember the old iron-on T-shirts? I didn't want that kind of feeling. So, that's a more expensive process. And it was going to be, sorry to all my U of A fans, it was going to be ASU maroon. And they sent us brown, and it was like, oh, well, no one cares. It was just going to be, well, I mean, for some reason, Tucson thinks I'm like, out to get them, and I'm like, well, this time I'm going to try it. Just I don't really. I mean, I'll support either. Although Arizona's got to win a few games for me to be a fan, I guess. I'm a Wisconsin guy, so anyway, we have to be aware of what's going on with that. And we'll just have to roll it. I take inspiration from all my breweries who rolled with it and figured it out, and that's what we're going to have to do. So yeah, we are going to probably. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about wristbands. I'm worried about not so much drink tickets because we get those printed here. Manpower, labor, yeah. The people who set up fences and put up with everyone's bullshit when they're drunk. I mean, that's not a salary position. And we already compete with other events that go on in February. So yeah, that's a concern. I don't know. I didn't name something, so inevitably, well, think of it when we get off, and I'll be like, that's the one that's going to get us. I'm like, oh yeah. We actually made a miscalculation one year because we've always had warmer years for strong beer, and we've used a formula to get the right amount of porta potties, right? It was cool one year. It was like 63 or something like that, overcast, here's what I learned, and you can verify this in your own experience. When you drink and it's colder, you will pee more. You will have the urge to pee more when it's colder. And so people all kind of hit that point at the same time, and like it got crazy out of control. We had more per capita than we did any other year, but it was colder and people went more frequently.
That's funny.
Yeah. So you never know. But
Crazy. Well, Rob, I know there's probably lots of logistics to figure out. There's lots of things that need to happen. So we appreciate you, talking to us and letting us know. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to actually, be part of it this year as well, or this coming year, I guess. So excited to see what happens out there. If people kind of want to figure out or follow along what the progress is and all that information, where should they look? What's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, online it'll be chooseazbrews.com. Right now it just has hey, we're announcing something on Tuesday, which is the
Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
So right now we're just
listen to this. This should be today. You should be able to go to a day and see
it. Go to chooseazbrews.com right now.
That'll be November 9th.
Yeah. And so we haven't updated anything. It still references 2020, and I left it that way. There's just a splash page that says, "Hey, it's coming." We'll be working on that. We'll have we have barrels, bottles, and brews this weekend. It's sold out, I think, but we might have some giveaway tickets on that. Just randomly on social media. It's we'll have that event in January, which I'm really excited about. Can't wait to see what all the renderings, and I'm going to walk the property this week. Just kind of follow along. Strong Beer is at the heart of Arizona Beer Week, so we'll have some cursory information about that probably after Tuesday. So we're making that announcement Tuesday at 7:00, and everybody will listen to this and they can at least get a few more pieces of information. But I think the takeaway is we're back and we're making some moves. And just ask that you be patient with us and get outside your comfort zone and check it out. I would kick myself if we didn't take advantage of this, and I ended up 2 years from now lamenting some bullshit out of state bacon and beer festival, something with condiment cups, which is with the Untapped thing.
Sounds exciting, Rob. I really do think it's a good idea to move it, and it sounds like I'm looking forward to it, honestly. So.
And just to finish up, what kind of the dates you have right now? So Black Friday tickets go on sale. January 8th, you're doing the kind of like pre-launch brew fest. The date for the actual Strong Beer Fest is February 19th. When are you doing like a Black Friday pre-sale and then like a general sale, or because that's how it's usually been in the past, right?
It's going to mirror everything that we did last year. We're trying to figure out if we could do a multi-ticket for both events, or if it even makes sense. There'll be it will have sales in-house at the Guild where you can save some money. We're just trying to work through that. I got to sign a contract with the ticketing company that is exclusive to that place. We're working on merch. We're working on other things. It's not all going to come together on Black Friday, but we're going to step through it. By the way, we also have that. We have a change to the calendar. You remember the Beard Walk calendar? Mm-hmm. This year it's going to be focused around rescue animals and their brewer companions. So every month we'll talk about have a rescue story. So we're calling it Beard Paw instead of Beard Walk, and we're bringing the coupon book back. So if you took advantage of the coupon book, that's going to be back for another year. So a lot of stuff going on that date. So we're trying to pull it all together and hopefully without too many hitches. But if we run into a hiccup, we'll work through it. We'll let everyone know what's going on and we'll work through it.
So what Rob's saying is buy the coupon book, buy tickets, and buy the Beer Paw calendar, right?
I'm saying support in all the ways you can. And we had amazing support over the pandemic, and I want to thank everybody for that. But here we're going to be able to provide a semblance of what was going on last year or the year before, and we're going to build on it. And I think it's going to be. We have the opportunity to make this a different more richer experience for everybody.
Cool. Well, hey, yeah, I know. Like I said, we really appreciate everything that you do and the guild does for the craft brewers. I mean, we like to review guys sometimes too, and we always have opinions about stuff. But we want everybody to grow and be better, and that's how it all works. But we appreciate you sitting with us and talking to us and give us information. Maybe we should figure out some time to meet closer to the date. We can get a little bit more information and some more details, so we can do this again. I mean, these Road Sodas episodes are great to kind of sit down and do that. So
yeah, 100%.
Awesome.
I'm here for it. So
cool.
When we get something nice to drop on, we'll let you know.
Excellent. Well, with that being said, Nate, where can people find us?
I'm just kidding. No, at Hoppy Craftsmen on Instagram and Facebook.com the Hoppy Craftsmen Facebook page. So, and
awesome.
we have hoppycraftsmen.beer still probably as well.
Yes,
that is correct. We still have it.
Okay. And I just want to give them a public shout out. I found out about a new place through listening on one of my many drives, Silver Key Lodge. I thought that was something that didn't pop up on my radar. I was glad to hear you guys talk about it, went in there and hung out. So even me, who's supposed to be in touch with all this stuff, I was a little pleasant surprise to find out something cool that happened during the pandemic that I didn't know.
For those guys.
And
that's great.
Rob, where can people go? We mentioned it earlier, but just to reiterate, to find information about everything going on with breweries and the guild in Arizona.
Yeah, chooseazbrews.com is the website. Follow us on Facebook. You can look at our photos on Instagram and Twitter. We don't respond a lot to messages. It's just too much going on, and it's funny. We have an autoresponder that says who to email, and no one does it. And my voicemail says please text me, and no one does it. But there's a process. If you see me and I'm talking to somebody, please interrupt me. People say I didn't want to interrupt you. Like, just do it. Like, it's just another knucklehead brewer guy. So like.
All right. Well, thanks, Rob, for coming on with us, and we look forward to Strong Beer this year in Mesa. It's nice to see things come out to Mesa. I guess with that, thanks, Nate, for coming back. You're not dead. You're not the Paul McCartney missing Beatle.
I just have two small kids. No, thanks for having me back, guys. I'll try to be back as much as I can.
Thank you, Chris, because you run this ship most of the time.
Awesome.
And thanks for Rob for spending time with us. And we'll see you hopefully with Rob again, and we'll give you a little more details and a little more update on the floor plan and the layout and the actual build of this place.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys.
Later, everyone.
Cheers.